Hello everybody, this is Could Be Cody, back again for another KYBER video. So today we will be talking about the heavy blasters in the KYBER BattleFront Plus mod. Since my assault weapons did well, and I'm pretty knowledgeable in this subject, let's just dive right into it. So starting off with the ABR2, it is a burst weapon, which is very unique. You'll see a very similar thing with most of these weapons is they are very gimmicky. So this is similar to the T21 with burst mode in the original game, except it shoots sideways. So the recoil makes you turn from left to right. It deals a damage of 50 at close range, 35 at long range, and its damage drop-offs seems to be around 35 meters. You're able to shoot 4 times in the burst, before overheating, which is a decent amount since you are usually able to one burst a trooper at close range. Now, I do not recommend this weapon at medium or long range because of the unusual recoil, which isn't too much, but it is super strange. And then also, the damage fall off is pretty heavy, 35 damage. That means you need to hit at least 1.5 bursts to actually kill somebody. But because of that gimmick, it becomes really hard to aim at longer ranges. So we're going to start this one off with a B. Now, it's not impossible to use, but it is not the best weapon in the game. Going on to our next weapon, which is a doozy because of how inconsistent it really can be, is the Baragwin Repeater. So this weapon is a 10-round burst, doing 9 damage to 6 damage. Now, you are shooting at a fairly rapid rate, but it's doing little damage, and the longer in the burst, the more accurate it gets. So the first probably 4 shots you're not going to hit unless you're very close. Now, it does have a decent range at 20 meters, and then after that, 64 is when it really drops off all the way down to 6. You really struggle from any range that's further than, well, medium range. You will most likely have to shoot them with a burst for 3 times, since if with maximum damage hitting, all the shots at closest range will do 90 damage, well, and plus or minus headshot, but you will not be able to one burst somebody, and it's not super consistent. I found it really hard to get any kills with it, so I'm going to put it in our D tier. Next up is a personal favorite, the DC-12U. Now this shoots 2 shots at once at a fairly fast rate, similar to the FWMB in the original game, except it shoots 2 at a time. It has a fairly decent heat capacity at 22, but it does 20 damage or 22 damage per shot, and it doesn't have any drop off, which is incredible, until 60 meters. Then it drops off by, I'm pretty sure, 2 damage per shot, so you're still doing 18 damage per, well, burst, I guess it technically would be. And it has one of the best accuracy and almost the highest kill time in the game with decent cooling. So with this weapon, I'm going to give it our first S tier. Alright, DC-15. In the original game, it is one of the base weapons for stormtroopers, and it is a very different weapon from the DC-15LE. Now, it comes in 2 modes, the Elite mode, which turns into a 3-shot burst, and its full auto mode. Now, the burst mode doesn't change the damage much, except for the fire rate, and it is incredibly accurate. I would say near 100% accuracy at all ranges. So for the damage, it's not too bad. It is at a whopping 40 at close range and 34, so barely a drop off. Now, its range does drop off at 50 meters, and it has a decent heat capacity at 16. Now, the fire rate is fairly good in both modes, but it does take a while to reburst in the Elite mode. The headshot multiplier is around 2, which is great for compared to some of the other heavy weapons. Now, in my case, I do like the original mode better because you get reduced recoil and bolt speed, which makes it hit fire and little to no recoil. So that's the one that I usually levitate to. I think I'm going to put it in A tier because of its incredible accuracy. Now, we have our first original gun in the original game. It's vanilla, hasn't actually been changed at all. So many of us know it has a regular mode and then an explosive shot mode. So it starts off 16 damage to 10 damage in just the regular mode, shoots very rapidly, but with explosive shot, which I recommend you use, it deals an extra 50% damage at a slower fire rate. But it is significantly more accurate than its non-explosive fire because of that slower rate of fire. It has a heat capacity of 56, and then you have 2/3 of that for the actual original gun with the explosive shot. So its heat is significantly higher. But it is a decent weapon. I wouldn't say it's the best. It doesn't have the quickest kill time. So I put it right around B tier. I would put it above the ABR though, because it's much more consistent. Now, one of the weapons that has been hit with one of the biggest nerfs in the game is its DF95. This weapon is very unique. It can either shoot in 3 shots, or it can shoot perfect accuracy from any range. It deals 25 damage to 14 damage per shot in the 3 shotgun mode, or it does 32 to 20 in its regular fire, or its ADS fire. It has really good heat capacity at 25 and fairly good fire rate for both modes. And the damage falls off at 24 meters, but the damage fall off you barely feel with the 2 times headshot multiplier. The weapon has been hit with quite a nerf, with the damage being decreased, but it still has some great upgrades with its bolt and also with reduced cooling. So I have to put this one in S tier, just for its perfect accuracy at all ranges. Now, DLT-19, another base weapon for the heavy trooper. This weapon was incredibly good before the Death Trooper rework in the original Battlefront 2. And so this weapon is fairly inconsistent at some ranges, but as long as you don't hold down the trigger for a long time, you'll be able to get your shots off. So it does 17 damage at close range, 13 at long range, and it has a fire rate of 700 and a heat capacity of 40, which is fairly good considering its high fire rate. Now, is it the best weapon that you can pick? Probably not. Will it be outclassed by most of the weapons that it gives you? I would say so. Now, it isn't a bad weapon, but it can be quite situational. So I'm going to put it at C tier because of how iffy it can be. We have our first full shotgun up next, which is the DP-23. Now, this weapon is for the clone engineer. He is one of my favorite characters, but it is very one-sided. If you have those close-range engagements, you are going to do just fine. It is not comparable to any other heavy weapon. Maybe some assault weapons can deal with it, like the T-20, I think it is, and then, of course, the scattergun that they're equipped with, but it is very good for those close-range encounters. It's definitely going to outclass the DF-95 in these situations. So does a burst of 9, does 14 damage up close, and its fire rate is 120, and you can shoot 5 times with it. Now, it comes with cooling, ion shot, and escape artist, so it is nice to be able to run up to your enemy as fast as possible. It's what I would always have equipped. But if you do not have a sidearm, which you should always equip the DL-44 for that sidearm, since it is allowed on the heavy, you're going to really struggle. You have to rely on that sidearm for those longer ranges. But since you do have it, it doesn't make it impossible to use on those longer range maps, but it's very situational. So I'm going to put it in C tier. Now, next up is the E5C. I'm pretty sure it has the fastest rate in the game, with a fire rate of 800, damage 14 to 8, and which is quite a big fall off of 6 damage, range of 15, and goes all the way to 55 meters. That's when it drops off to 8. And it has a pretty good heat capacity at 100, which is about double most of these other automatic blasters. So that means you can get 100 shots off, but it does shoot 800 rounds per minute, is what fire rate is, just for clarification if anybody doesn't know. Now, it does come with the rapid fire, which bumps it up even more, and then it has reduced recoil. The recoil on this gun is actually substantial compared to most guns in Battlefront 2. Now, I do recommend you use it on these close quarter maps. But with that problem, you have the DF95 or the DP23. Those will both outclass this weapon. The accuracy at long range is minimal. It is probably one of the worst out of all of these, even the Baragwin repeater. Now, it is very good at those close ranges, but falls off so quickly and is kind of in the middle and outclassed. So sadly, I'm going to have to put it right above the Baragwin repeater, but it is just outclassed unless you're in very specific circumstances. Next up, we have the E22. Now, we get to the Imperial weapons that is kind of unknown. I would have put it as an assault weapon, but the devs at KYBER decided it will be a great heavy weapon, which it is actually pretty good. 32 damage to 25. It is similar to DC-12U, except it's more of a single shot blaster. It shoots 2 at a time and has quite good range. Has a fire rate of 200 and a heat capacity of 10. You can shoot 10 times. It actually might be 5 since it shoots 2 at a time, but whatever. It doesn't matter. It has perfect accuracy, but it just seems to be kind of iffy sometimes. Since it shoots 1 top, 1 bottom, you can just be hitting 50% of the shots, especially when aiming at the head. I've seen in my gameplay, it just kind of whizzes right above them, or if you're aiming middle of the body, it might whiz right below them. But it is not a bad weapon. I wouldn't say it's horrible. Sometimes it can be outclassed, but it is one of the best ranged weapons that the Heavy has. So I'm actually going to put it in the middle of B tier above the ABR. Now, the FWMB 10K. This is in the original game. It is not one of my favorites. They have done 0 changes to it. Now, it has decent damage. I wouldn't say it's the best by any sorts, but it also has an okay fire rate and moderate accuracy is what it says. 24 damage to 15, and it caps out at a range of 40. Has a fire rate of 450 and a heat capacity of 39, so get 39 shots off, which is not bad damage. Now, the accuracy is moderate, which is kind of what puts it in the middle. It doesn't have great accuracy at longer ranges, but doesn't have a high fire rate for those closer range attacks. It has decent damage, but it just kind of gets outclassed by specific weapons in specific situations. So I'm going to actually put it in C tier. Now, to another base game weapon that is one of the first weapons you get, but it's the same as the DLT-19, the FWM-10, and also the E5C, is the RT-97C, the Rebel Blaster. Now, this weapon is, I would say, fairly hit or miss. It has explosive shot, which makes it heat up significantly faster, but has a significantly better kill time. And then the damage is actually 26 to 21, caps out at a range of 55, and shoots 600 rounds per minute with a heat capacity of 32. Now, I might divide that by 2 with the explosive shot to 16 shots, but the kill time's fairly good. Without the explosive shot, it is still a great weapon. You're able to get plenty of shots out and off, and still does pretty good damage. It's really up to preference if you want it to have explosive shot or not. It kind of bounces around for me too. It's a decent weapon, decent range, but I would not use it at those longer ranges. So I'm going to put it at the bottom of A tier. Now we have the M45, which is actually the weapon mounted on top of the, I'm fairly sure it's the U-Wing. And so this weapon it never overheats. Let's just put it that way. It deals 20 damage to 14 damage, caps out at a range of 75 meters, and shoots 500 per minute, which is a decent amount, just right in the middle, but has a heat capacity of 72. It does not feel like 72. It feels like I can just shoot on forever and ever and ever with this weapon. The accuracy says it's low, but the longer you shoot it, the more accurate it gets. It is unlike the Baragwin repeater, where you have to pull the trigger, it gets inaccurate, and then you have to pull it again for it to get accurate. You can just hold this thing down, and it's pretty darn accurate. But the damage is just okay. I wouldn't say it destroys anything else comparatively with its damage. I don't think it would deserve an S or an A tier, but I would put it above the ABR in B tier. This B tier is getting pretty full, but it's kind of deserved. Now, next up we have the Sonic Blaster. This is the Geonosian Blaster. It's a very strange splash damage weapon. Now, it does 49 to 30 damage, so you're not going to be able to reburst anybody by direct shots, but that's where they get you. Because of its splash damage, it deals damage on top of that. So it does, I'm pretty sure it's an extra 15 damage because of splash. Now it has a fire rate of 90, so not the fastest, and it can shoot 8 shots. And its radius goes all the way up to 4 meters, with it doing only 2 damage at the 4 meters. So it's a fairly big blast. So if you get it perfectly accurate, you can actually do 69 damage. Haha, funny, nice. But that's not in 2-shot territory. So you're going to have to shoot them 3 times before you kill them, which is fine. I would never specifically recommend this gun, only if you can't aim, which maybe that's how you play, maybe that's just who you are, but I don't think it's that great. I'm gonna put it in C tier, right below that DP-23. Next up is a really strange weapon. It is the Disruptor Rifle, which is known to be pretty much a weapon that goes up against tanks itself, but it is a weapon that the Heavy can use, and I see more often than I really want to. So it's a long charge up. It takes 14% of the charge up in 1 second. So if you want to do the math, I'm pretty sure it takes 7 seconds to fully charge up, which then at full charge it does 335 damage, which is a really decent amount, and has a range of 9 meters, or a blast of 9 meters. But if you get it to halfway, it'll do 150 damage, and if you only get it up to that quarter, it'll do 115. So 335, 150, 115. But you only get 1 shot before it overheats. I wouldn't use this, but there is the charge hack if you really like that. I find it to be ineffective because you're still overheating in 1 shot. It's just not my cup of tea. If you really like it, good for you, but I just can't get behind it, because if I'm going to play a 1v1, I don't want to just be sitting on top of a hill just raining down fire. I want to actually be in the action. But if you just want to sit back and not play Specialist, Disruptor Rifle's for you. But because of its 1-shot capability, but you only have that 1 shot, it's going right near the top of C tier. Now the C tier is the biggest. Alright, T-21. This was in the original game, but they did actually switch it around a little bit. It was either a 1-shot or a 3-shot. Now in this game, it's a 1-shot or a 2-shot. It does good damage, 65 to 51 at its longest range, and then it has burst, of course, and then also improved handling, so it has more accuracy, less recoil. I would say this is a nerf compared to the original game. It is an absolute demon, being able to 1-burst heavies with 200 health in the original game, but now it's kind of been watered down. I wouldn't even really rely on it, especially compared to a lot of the KYBER weapons that are significantly better than the original game weapons. I would probably have to put it in D tier, at the top of D tier, but still in D tier, because it is absolutely overthrown by a whole bunch of these other weapons. Even the ABR, with its really strange recoil, beats it. Up next is the TL40. The TL50's little brother, but it is pretty good. It has a incredible damage at 37 per shot, and it goes down to 18, and its damage decreases at 55 meters is its furthest range. It shoots 350 per minute, which is significantly slower than TL50, but its heat capacity is 65, so it's able to get lots of shots off, and has the auto cooling, which I highly recommend. Now, it does shoot faster with its rapid fire modification, which I highly recommend you should use. Heat capacity stays the same. There's no other really reasons to use Escape Artist over that, but its damage is pretty good. I say it's incredibly consistent. It says it has moderate accuracy. I would actually put it at high accuracy because you're able to get a lot of kills at a good range with this weapon. I'm gonna actually put it in A tier. Yeah, right above the RT97C. Now, the TL50, a fall from grace by comparison. This had no nerfs whatsoever to itself, but compared to the other weapons in KYBER, it is a definite fall from grace, as I just said. Now, it does 20 damage to 10 damage at a range of 15 to 40 meters. Fire rate at 700 and a heat capacity of 32. That is without the actual cooling cell, which allows for longer duration of shooting, which I recommend that, plus the improved accuracy. The secondary fire is not recommended in my personal experience. Now, it is dominant in the original game. That and the T21 really fight for that #1 spot in the original game. But this just gets outclassed by a whole bunch of the A and S tiers. So we're just gonna put it in C tier, right below the ABR. Now, for our final weapon is the V6D. This is kind of a boring end with this weapon. It is pretty much just a secondary fire of the TL50, but that's your entire gun. Its blast radius is 80, or blast damage is 80. Radius goes from 0.75 to 5 meters, so it can fall off drastically from the impact point. And the fire rate is 80 and heat capacity is 3, so you can shoot 3 of these. It also comes with a burst mode. To be honest, I hate this weapon. It is unusual to use, it becomes hard in close quarters, not reliable enough in long ranges. I'm just gonna put this at D. Really no explanation. The gameplay, I don't think I even get a kill in the gameplay because it's just horrible to use. I would never recommend it. Its reduced recoil upgrade and its bolt speed upgrade really do nothing for it. And so that's really it for the heavy weapons. I do think the heavy is overclassed by the Assault. The Assault's my personal favorite because it has that health decrease from 200 to 150 for whatever reason it may be. But this is my final tier list. Meta weapons, good weapons, mid weapons, niche weapons, and only for those who are daring enough to use them. Now, thank you so much for listening and watching. If this is helpful, please like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. I'm going to continue to make these videos if the support shows up for it. And if you see me in game, say hi. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.